All right, welcome to We Are Soccer. We just finished watching U.S. men's national team at Honduras. And never in doubt. Easy game. All 3 points right off the bat, right? Yeah, 4-1 winners. Easy. No, wasn't quite that way. But we did learn about Pepi, the kid, the 18-year-old kid who is involved in all 4 goals. One word, just wow. The kid can play. He did well in hold up, distributing the ball. He got a goal, got an assist. A big tip of the hat goes to Greg Berhalter for changing the system around at halftime, and for giving Pepi full 90-minute debut. He had other options, but when the cards were against him, we went with Pepi in the last qualifying game here. So well done, Greg Berhalter. You may have messed up the first half for us, though. Wrong formation, wrong players on the field. Not good. But second half, well done. Got it correct. Nate, never in doubt, right? What a game, my friend.
Well, I originally said, if you remember, you go back to our last video, go back to our last conversations. I said this was going to be the coming out party. I said this is going to be the game that these guys are going to come out and really show what they have. I didn't think it was going to happen like that. And no, they're at the first half. I was sitting here going, this is not good, and this is really bad, and I don't know what to do or say here because this is awful. So no, I wasn't sitting there going, oh, just wait, it's okay. I was sweating bullets. I felt just like the commentators who were all at halftime were like, we don't know what to say because this is so bad. We don't know what to do. I'm glad that Berhalter, for once in his career, and I'm not saying this sarcastically, I'm just saying from what I've seen in every one of his games, go back to El Salvador when it wasn't working. He waited to the 80th minute to make changes that were not effective, really, because it was done at the 80th minute, in 85th. What were you expecting to happen? He finally did something where he went, you know what? It's not working. And here we go. And the changes all worked. And it completely changed the game. And you could tell the fans in Honduras, you could tell in that stadium how well it was working because they were lit, they were lively in that first half. I heard it, they were crazy. That second half, they got real quiet, and then booed their team at the end. So,
yeah, I'll agree with everything you're saying. You're right. I'm going to ask you a very important question right now. Did the USA men's team finally find its number 9 player? Do we have the player who we've all been craving for a long time? Is it him? Is it Pepi?
well, if he can do it again, sure. I mean, you had a one performance game. I'm not trying to take that away. I'm just saying you don't want to just give it to someone off of one performance, but it was an incredible coming out party for him. And everyone questioned, hey, why is this kid getting the start? And it worked. I mean, that was one of the things that actually he got right, and leaving him on was one of the things he got right. And I'll say this, I mean, I'm a massive Josh Sargent fan, massive. I like the guy, but he has shown me nothing lately on the US, not even in these games. Go back to even the other tournaments that he was in prior running up to this. He has really shown very little to warrant a start. And I think from here on in, he's probably not. And I think you still need to bring in a DK or a Hop and give those guys a chance. Because he's not, I mean, I'm not saying go away from him, but he's not a starter in my mind right now. And until he gets over whatever is going on, that's causing the slump.
Agreed.
Going back, I mean, it's kind of baffling. Like, I kind of think I understand what Greg was trying to do in the beginning. And I mean, it's hard to understand unless you're sitting there in the locker room and listening. But I think what they were trying to do is go with a 3-back system with wing backs and push it up the side and have 3 forwards and trying to score. But clearly it wasn't working.
It didn't work.
It just wasn't working.
Let's break the game down into the 2 halves, right? So we had the first half. We saw the lineup. We saw they started out, and I think you're right. They started to go with those 3 in the back and then 5 in the middle with wing backs. And it clearly didn't work. It didn't work because there was too much space between the 3 forward players and the midfielders. And I don't know, have we seen Jamie Sands play as a defensive midfielder? I believe when he played in the Gold Cup, he was a central defender. So
No,
we
and
hadn't seen
yeah,
him.
that was his. Well, there was one game where he kind of switched out a little bit, but yeah, he was mainly a center back those games.
Right.
I don't think that was a problem though, because he did stay on for a large portion of that second half of center back and did pretty well.
He did
So,
once we changed it up and put some more, but the amount of space
he gave him
between
help.
the 3 forwards and Acosta and Kellen Acosta and Sands was because Kellen Acosta and Sands come back and there's that huge space, that gap. So
Correct.
I think the formation Greg Berhalter went with, the personnel he had on the field wasn't working, and then he switched it up. But in the first half, besides the formation, besides all that, I think USA was out hustled. They didn't win the first ball. They didn't win the second ball. The effort was there from Honduras, who, sure, it's at home. They had the crowd on them, with them on their side, really went at it and deserved the 1-0 lead that they had. If it wasn't for bringing on those players in the second half, this could have been a huge, and changing up the formation, this could have been a huge stumbling block for the USA. But overall in that first half, not good enough from any of the players besides the formation and the personnel who are on the field, in my opinion. Second half, completely different story. Right off the bat, Pulisic started getting the ball and being able to run with the ball and distribute it out wide. We saw that a few times, did a very nice job. And then the goal, Robinson scores that nice goal. It's because Pulisic goes through the middle with the ball, pushes it out wide. The ball's crossed in. Our forwards are there, kind of bounces around. And there's Robinson, our left back, putting the ball home with his right foot, far post. Very nice finish. It's because we got people in the box, right? It's because we got people in the box. We changed it up. We told them to get forward. It started to work. So, as you said, tale of two halves, that second half. What are your thoughts on the second half and how Greg changed it up?
I mean, I think he pulled in the right players. I think he switched up the formation in the way that it needed to. He put more emphasis on having targets in the midfield to actually play, and then having the wingbacks still attack through the channels. Aaron Robinson, who I am now dubbing the American Jack Grealish for the way he wears his shin pads and socks, if you've noticed, was dominating completely on that left-hand side. And Tyler Adams was still on that right-hand side, still doing well. And then when they subbed him out for Yedlin, still doing well. You had a problem with the center backs. I'm not sure if it's exactly Brooks. I don't know what's going on there because, again, I'm your Bundesliga guy, right? And I can tell you right now, he's one of the best center backs in the Bundesliga. So I'm not really sure what's happening or what's going on with that chemistry there, or what he's being told or asked to do that's somehow not working for the USA team when he's there, because he was one of the guys who subbed off and you could tell the back line got better. Yep. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it didn't get better when he was on there. No, you removed essentially one of the best center back that plays in the Bundesliga. Okay, I get it, the farm league, whatever. But he plays for Wolfsburg, the team who is number 1 right now. You took him out and that line somehow got better. And that to me is a question that needs to be answered, because he's a talented enough player to have to be able to play there. So I'm not sure what he's either being asked to do or isn't getting, with the other players, where it's somehow affecting the performance, or maybe it's just him mentally. I don't know, but there's something happening there.
I gotta say, I think he's probably being asked to do something a little different than what he's used to, but also there's some mental lapses there. We see, in the Canada game, he made a mistake where he didn't follow his the guy who was supposed to be marking. Right. The mark ran away, scored an open goal. We tie 1-1. In this game, he gets sucked out, goes to win the ball, misses it. The guy runs past him. I mean, and it just creates a big hole that our defenders can't fill for that first goal to go in the back of the net.
Now, I put more of that on the other defensive player not picking up that player in the box. Now, it started with him, and he should have been there, and he was sucked out too much. Agreed, but that's where you have other players you rely on as a defensive unit, and that guy was completely aimless. He was basically marking nobody and letting someone come through.
Yeah.
But
it was a
takes two to
mistake.
tango. Yeah.
A mistake started by Brooks and then a collective finished off by the rest of the team by not filling in and marking. Agreed.
Yep.
I don't
Agreed.
think we will see Brooks play or start for the U.S. men's national team in the next couple of matches in October. I just don't think until he can prove it to Berhalter, because he made too many mistakes in these 3 games, in my opinion.
That's tough, because what you're telling me then is, and I understand what you're saying, but what you're telling me is that you don't have room as a starter for the best center back in a European league.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah,
you've made 2 mistakes that have cost you goals and cost you points.
Agreed.
Almost cost you, points in this game, but definitely cost you points in the
But
Canada game.
that's
no matter
where
who you make mistakes, you're not going to find your minutes on the field.
agreed. But that's where I would have to ask: is it what he's being asked to do, or trying to do, or is it him? Because you can't tell me that he is a worse defender than was it McKenny that was there. I think he's better than him. Sorry, he is.
I agree, but if he can't do what's being asked of him by the coach will find someone else. And maybe.
But did the instructions change when they changed the lineup? I think it did, because they were playing different. So I don't know. I mean, that's something that I can't answer, because I'm not sitting there and hearing what he has to say. I'm not going to speculate, but I will just say he is one of the best center backs in the Bundesliga, which is a decent European league, and something's going on. You know what I mean? So,
and I'm not disputing that, but he's got to get his head right when he gets into
Correct.
this lineup and got to do what he's asked to do, because in that second half, whatever happened and changed it up, the man in the middle there got the job done, and Brooks is on the bench. Either way.
And hats off to Sands in the second half too, because he was playing better. And the 2 things, remember the last video we talked about, the 2 things I said this team was missing was Acosta playing the way he did, and he got scrappy. He got very scrappy. I think at one point he took a guy flat out, and Stretcher came out and took him out, right? There was another time where he just like ran into another dude, and he was getting scrappy, and that's what you need. That guy deserves to start every single. He is the defensive midfielder, the midfield presence that you need. And you know what? Sands actually started getting in there too. There was a point in that second half where he nailed a guy and then basically stepped over him like he was nothing. And that type of stuff, it's a mental thing. It's you're sending a message there. I'm not, and that was right after Pulisic was waxed out of the game too. And that was the message of, hey, you're not going to knock our players around. Sorry. This is what's going to happen.
Kellen Acosta is not the biggest guy in the world, but he's an enforcer in the middle and puts his body.
You know what? Yeah. I outweighed every one of the guys I played with in Germany by at least 60 pounds. They kicked my ass every week. So I don't care how much you weigh. If you know how to tackle and know how to use your body right, you're going to smoke people. So,
well, let's quickly chat about Pulisic. He did well in certain aspects of the game. He was trying to do too much. I felt like he ran with the ball and was trying to do a little too much, and that's really what got him injured. Instead of knocking the ball off a little sooner, he should have beat a guy or 2, then knocked the ball off, but he was trying to be the guy and do all the work. And then, as you said, he got waxed, and it looked like he took a good knock there. It went off in the 60th minute, and both you and I swapped texts and said, uh-oh. Let's see what happens here. But sure enough, Roldan comes on and kind of, I don't want to say he was responsible, but I think the USA just overpowered Honduras from then on out. And Pepi really stepped up in my opinion.
If you saw, Roldan did not fill the spot. Pulisic, that was Arison that filled the spot. So Arison was shoved in there, and he did phenomenal, I thought. And Roldan played a different role. Within the game. And again, that goes back to coaching. We just lost our best player. How do I fix this? And I think, honestly, I hate to use the Zardes tactical genius line that he used, that I constantly throw around as a joke, but what Berhalter did is very impressive the second half. He got it wrong the first half. He fixed it. Then he lost his best player. and he adjusted, and the team still marched on. You beat Honduras. That the announcers, I hadn't checked the stat myself, but according to the announcers, went undefeated in home the last World Cup cycle. You smacked them 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
The second half, you scored 4 unanswered goals. That is a massive impressive. And I believe his CONCACAF streak is quite large now, with not losing a game in through the Nations League and the Gold Cup and now this tournament. Yeah, he's got a bunch of ties that we don't like with El Salvador and Canada, but not a loss. So he's doing quite well. Now we're third based on goal differential, and you're only two points out of first. You're set up quite nicely. You don't have a loss yet, and you had 2 away games.
Right. I'm going to agree 100% with you, but at the beginning, before these 3 World Cup qualifying games started, we all said we're expecting close to 9 points here, right? Based on the teams are playing, based on how we're playing, based on coming off the summer of Gold Cup and Nations League. We were all very disappointed with the El Salvador match. The performances there, the players just didn't seem to have it. It was disjointedness. And then obviously we had Weston McKennie being sent home. We had, COVID broken. We got injuries happening. And then we went and played at home against Canada. Didn't do very well. 1-1, another tie. So after wanting 9 points, but only getting 5, this, especially 4-1 at Honduras, seems like, hey, you know what? Chill. We got this. We're in a good position. We don't need to be in first spot right now. There's still a lot of games to be played in this World Cup qualifying. But it looks like we're heading in the right track, and we've got some players figured out here with the way they're playing. And hopefully Greg Berhalter is finding his best team and formation to play with that team.
I was listening to something from Tony Meola, right? And he was talking about the 2002 team and how their first 2 games were awful. And the third game was the coming out party. And that's when they got it together. Greg Berhalter, this squad, they've never done this before. They haven't. I'm not using an excuse. I'm stating a fact. When has he ever gone through World Cup qualifying? Never. If he's able to grow and adjust and become better throughout this, that's not bad. You know what I mean? That's not bad at all.
It's only going to help when they actually, if they can get to Qatar, right?
I hate to be that guy who's then being a Berhalter apologetic, and I hate to be the guy on the bandwagon. And I got that way after the Nations League and then the Gold Cup that he won. Yeah. But I kind of look at this and go, well, who are you going to get that's going to be better? He has his flaws. We all have our flaws. I don't think he's, well, at least I thought going into this game, he wasn't the tactical genius. He's not the guy who's going to make changes. He did it here. And if he's learning and moving and progressing and becoming better, I mean, you can't fault a coach for that. Right. It's actually pretty good coaching if you're able to look at your faults and go, this is what I'm doing wrong, and this is how I'm going to get better and grow into the position that you've been given that you've never done before. So who knows? Yeah. I mean, time will tell. I don't think it was a bad 3 games, 2 ties and a win. One of the ties being away, one of the wins being away. Yeah, you would have liked a home win, but you know what? Canada's pretty damn good. You saw what they did against they beat El Salvador 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad, So they're a good team. You didn't lose against them.
They're absolutely right there, Nate. All right, well, lots we could talk about in the upcoming days. We'll be talking more about the U.S. men's national team, the things that went on, but after 3 games, the first 3 games of World Cup qualifying, it's very nice to end on a high like this, 4-1. And as you said, we sit in 3rd place. There's still 11 games to go, lots to go. 3 more games come up in early October, and we'll see if we can get more points there and move on up the rankings.
In October, you're playing Jamaica, that I believe is at the bottom of the table. You're playing Costa Rica, who I believe is at the bottom of the table. Mm-hmm. And what was the 3rd game?
Mexico.
But
Cincinnati.
If you can get 2 wins and a draw.
2 wins and a draw, and I mean, yeah, that would put us probably in the second and possibly even first, depending on how the teams above us do. So,
You know,
absolutely.
I'll go back to saying this: first, second, third, it doesn't matter as long
Mm-hmm.
as you get there. But you're already starting to see the first, second, third pull away with points,
Mm-hmm.
and that continues to happen as it goes. You won't have much to worry about down the stretch. And I
Absolutely.
think that's the most important part is, can you pull yourself away from those fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth spots?
Yep. Like they say, doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there. Qatar 2022, we just got to get there.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, buddy.
Cliche here.
Well,
On an ending note, I just hope that Honduras fixes the bee problem that they apparently have at the stadium. There seems to be swarms of bees in and around the USA area. Got very loud, and hopefully they're not those killer bees or attacking bees that you have, and hopefully they can fumigate that stadium and cure that problem.
I got nothing on that. Those damn
Bees.
sailors. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, buddy. We'll after a great win here, USA in Honduras win 4-1. Pepe, the star of the show. We'll call it a wrap, and we'll be back next week. All right, buddy. Have a good night, my friend.
Cheers.